Now would be a wonderful time to share your memories of Marc. Just stand up where you are, speak loud and clear. I know we all have wonderful, wonderful memories of this dear, dear man.
Marc was a friend in need when we both were in Monday Musicale, and I was complaining. I broke one of these strings, and I could not get one string. I had to buy a whole set, and I was ranting on and on about it. And Marc said, well, you know, I think one of my violin strings would fit that. So he went home and got a string. It looks a little different from all the rest, but it sure does work. So he has been my friend ever since then.
I live all the way up northwest of Chicago in Crystal Lake, and ever since I've known Marc, which appeared to many of you was a very short time, about 7 years, he never failed to make one of my Christmas parties, and of course he was always the star. I have a piano and an organ in the living room, and many, many friends who are musicians and singers, and we would have groups that would play. Sometimes it was viola, French horn, two violins, pianist, organist, whatever. And all I say is I can't hear a violin without thinking Marc. I can't think Marc without a large gathering of professional and many people who just loved his music as much as he loves his music. And he will be sorely missed.
Well, I knew Aunt Mildred, and I remember when he was born. And he was such a cute little toddler. He reminds me a lot of Erin and Rick's little boy. He was just into everything and interested in everything. And from the time he learned how to talk, he talked nonstop. But he was always a joy. We got together very often at holidays, and I live in Illinois, and we would drive over to Michigan City and spend the holidays with family. And we have many, many happy memories. And of course, you know, the fact that Marc played the violin so well, after all, he had a mother who taught strings in the Michigan City schools, and he could hardly escape from that.
My name is Chris. I'm Mildred's son, and Marc is my first cousin. But he was more than that to me. Marc and I were good, close friends. And when I was old enough to know who Marc was, you know, in my life as we grew up, Marc was older than me. And he taught me so many things in life, about life. He was a fixer-upper of anything. He could fix whatever it was that was broken in anything, and fix it, and it would come out better than it was before. Marc had very high standards. And it showed in his music, it showed in his life. My heart is broken for Marc. He was a mentor in many ways. I never saw Marc without a smile for something. Marc had a wonderful smile, and it didn't matter what the situation was, if he was having hard times or good times. Marc had a smile for people and was very well loved by many, and you know that. I'm gonna miss Marc, my friend, my mentor, my cousin. And rest in peace, Marc. You were a loved person.
I met Marc about 12 years ago, and he was driving one of my cars back from the garage. We were both at the garage. He was kind enough to do that, and I had a classical radio station at the time. When we got home, he mentioned that, and I said, yes, I like classical music. My dad played in the South Bay Symphony. And Marc lit up, and he said, really? My mother was at the South Bay Symphony. Oh, my goodness. And then the friendship began. And his mother, and Mark, and I, and my father were all violinists. And Mark's mother, now it's probably one of the last people that knew my father. And I credit Mark's friendship and his good friends ever since. He was everything you said he was, and I can't speak well enough about that great man. He was powerful, he had a wonderful mind, great intellect, he had strong will, and he could do things which I couldn't even hope to do. I, like all of us, have great reverence and respect for him. I miss him terribly, and I honor him as a great man he was.
I'm Mark's cousin, Marilyn. Mark helped me a lot after my parents passed away. He helped me to move out of my home and into my mobile home. He helped me fix the railroad fence that was down with my other friend Dave. And he also helped me to transplant our rose bushes that I proudly present still in my mobile home. He planted them all for me, and I said, this one over here, and so I found 7 of them. He pulled them all up and took them over there and planted them for me. And we have many family holiday memories together. We used to always get together with one of my cousins in Chicago for a New Year's Day celebration, and we'd always see all the relatives there. And Mark has just been a great cousin, and he will be missed. And just talking to him a long time on the phone. He was just a great guy.
My name is Jim Kelly, and my father married Billy. She married into the family, and I have many fond memories of Mark getting together just during the holidays or whatever during the course of the year. And he had a great sense of humor, a great conversationalist, and we just had a good time together. It was always very pleasant and very family. And he left me with a good feeling. He always had something good to say. He looked on the positive side of things. Very positive person, very strong, great mom, just like you said. And he always had something good, funny to say to me. He could talk, he had a lot of stories. Okay, had a million stories. And he'll be missed. I think right now about how his voice was voiced sometimes. His presence, his conversation, and his warm family at the holidays especially.
My name is Ellie, and I only knew Mark about a little over 6 years, and they were just wonderful years because he was just a wonderful friend. We were friends together. We shared a lot in our music and other interests, and when I think about him, I just think of love, just such a loving person. And he was loving to everyone he knew, and he was so interested in people. And we would often talk about that was the most wonderful thing in the world was love, and that God is love, and that's what we should be. And I know that's what he always wanted to be, and he was. And I just respected him so much because he was always such a brave man. He went through so many struggles in his life and many tragedies, many hard times. But he was so brave, and he was always determined to do the right thing and to be the best man he could be. And I just very respected him a lot and very proud of him.
I knew Mark, my name is Dan. I knew Mark, Dale knows Mark, Don knows Mark. We all sang with Mark at the Michigan City Lakeshore Chorus. Matter of fact, I wore my shirt tonight in support of Mark. And if you're looking at one picture there, Mark is wearing his very same shirt. So he was, as you know, he was a fine musician. He was really a really good baritone, which is a difficult part to sing, let me tell you. But Mark was always there. He was always on pitch. And if you weren't on pitch, he would say, "You're not on pitch." So I have fond memories of Mark. And Mark left the hole in the chorus when we no longer were singing. And I know that he's left the hole in the violin section of the Messiah Orchestra, because he was a major part of that. And she said he was quite a guy. Always, one of the things that always is sort of funny, always when Mark would stand and sing, or maybe like you, he always stood like this, you know? He was on attention, and he'd walk like this. Martin and I would always sort of smile about that, not making fun of him, but this was his idiosyncrasy. Yeah, but he was a great guy, and all of you who knew him and loved him, he'll leave a hole in your heart for a long time. Right now, he's on pitch with the rest of the angels.
I kind of am here to speak for my father, who was the bass and the quartet that Mark sang in barbershop. And John wanted to be here this evening, but he's ill as well, and he wanted you to know he really will miss Mark quite a bit. But the thing I remember is Mark would come over to our house for quartet rehearsals, and he was such a gentleman, and he was he had such a good sense of humor, and they practice these songs and they get all ready to do a show or a number or a place where they're going to practice, and he'd get out his book and say, "No, John, I can't be there. I'm going to be in Kansas City, bringing back a vehicle or something like that." So he was always going and doing, but he had such a good sense of humor that he would say, "Oh, don't worry about it. We've got these songs memorized. We'll do it some other time." He was such a wonderful friend and such a good friend.
I sang with John in a quartet for many years. Mark, excuse me, John. I sang with Mark for many years in a quartet, and we used to go around doing singing Valentines. And Mark got a great pleasure out of doing that. But I think the greatest pleasure we got was going to nursing homes and singing for the people at nursing homes, and that was just a blessing for us.
My name is Ken Richardson, and I'm the same age as Mark, and we went to Sunday school together. And I can remember going over to Mark's house, especially one time. He was so interested in so many different things. And we were in the basement, and his father made a magnifying glass to put this together for us. And we went around, and we just looked at all kinds of things with this magnifying glass. He was so excited, and so was I, about seeing all these things. And we were close to the stream there, and it was just always a lot of fun to be with, and he's going to be missed.
I don't know what to say. The things that will always stick out when I think about my dad: the stubbornness, strong-willedness, and he was a fighter. He fought too. And his, like you touched on, his childlike wonder. I remember once I went over to visit him, and I pulled up at his house, and the cicadas were out, and there was on the tree this cicada coming out of his shell. And I was watching him watch it, and it was like watching a little boy watch fireworks. The wonder and just pure amazement, and it just struck me how this grown man who's seen war, who's seen all these things, can have so much wonder for something so simple. And I guess also too that he was always there to help. I know I'm stubborn, but there are very few times that I call my dad like, "Hey, I need this." I guess I'm as stubborn as he is, but I call him like, "Hey, Dad, this is wrong with my car," or "Hey, I need whatever." And it was never, "Well, I'd have to see," or it was, "Okay, sure, I'll make it happen," whatever it is. And I know it's like I talk to him, he's like, "Oh, I'm fixing this for this person," or I'm doing this for that person. And that is what I want to try to emulate, is to always be at help. And when he passed, the world became quiet. And I will always think of him with love. And I want to thank everybody for coming. It would mean so much to him that you're all here. And it means so much to me. Thank you, all of you who shared your memories of him. It was so wonderful for me to hear too. And I know he would have enjoyed it.